Every single thing a human does, every argument, every purchase, every relationship, every grudge, traces back to one of 6 psychological mechanisms. Not 50, not 100, 6. Once you see them, you cannot unsee them in yourself or in anyone around you. This is the real psychology of human behavior. Mechanism 1. Status. Every human tracks their position in every group they're part of, constantly, mostly without realizing it. Who has more? Who's respected more? Who gets listened to first? This isn't vanity, it's survival wiring. For most of human history, low status in your tribe meant less food, less protection, less chance of passing on your genes. Your brain never got the memo that the stakes changed. This is why a promotion feels incredible, even if the pay raise is tiny. Why being ignored in a group chat stings more than it logically should. Why people buy things they can't afford to seem successful to people they don't even like. Status seeking explains an enormous amount of behavior that looks irrational from the outside, but makes perfect sense once you realize the brain is still playing a tribal survival game in a world that no longer works that way. Mechanism 2 is the one that explains almost every argument you've ever had. Mechanism 2. Identity protection. Once you believe something is true about yourself, I'm a good person, I'm smart, I'm right about this, your brain will defend that belief harder than it defends almost anything else, including facts. This is why people dig in deeper when they're shown evidence they're wrong. The evidence isn't just challenging an opinion, it's threatening an identity. And identity threats trigger the same defensive response as physical threats. This is why nobody ever says, "You're right, I was being irrational in the middle of an argument," even when they know it. Backing down mid-conflict feels like losing a piece of yourself, not just losing a debate. The smartest people aren't immune to this. Often they're worse, because more of their identity is built on being right, they have more to protect when they're not. Once you see identity protection, you'll notice it in almost every disagreement you witness, including your own. Mechanism 3 explains why you can't stop thinking about that one embarrassing thing you did in 2019. We're 2 mechanisms in, there are 4 more, and mechanism 5 is the one psychologists say most people never fully grow out of, no matter how old or how successful they become. Stay for that one, because it applies to you more than you think. Mechanism 3. Negativity bias. Your brain weighs bad experiences far more heavily than good ones. Not slightly more, dramatically more. Research suggests it takes roughly 5 positive interactions to emotionally offset 1 negative one. This is why one critical comment can ruin your entire day, even after 10 people said something kind. Why a single embarrassing memory from years ago can still make you cringe out loud, while 100 pleasant, forgettable days blur together into nothing. From a survival standpoint, this made total sense. Missing a threat could kill you. Missing a reward just meant a slightly less good day. So the brain evolved to overweight danger and underweight comfort. But in modern life, this bias means you carry criticism far longer than praise, remember insults far longer than compliments, and replay mistakes far more than victories. Your brain isn't being dramatic on purpose. It's running ancient threat software on a world that mostly isn't threatening anymore. Mechanism 4 is the reason you keep scrolling long after you stopped enjoying it. Mechanism 4. The dopamine-seeking loop. Dopamine isn't released when you get something good. It's released in anticipation of something good. The possibility, the maybe. This is why uncertain rewards are more addictive than guaranteed ones. A slot machine is more compelling than a vending machine, even though the vending machine always delivers. This single mechanism explains why checking your phone feels compulsive, even when you know the content is usually boring. Why gambling is so hard to walk away from. Why the beginning of a new relationship, a new job, a new hobby feels more exciting than the middle of it. Your brain isn't chasing satisfaction, it's chasing the possibility of satisfaction, which means the chase itself can become the addiction, completely separate from whether the reward ever actually shows up. Mechanism 5 is the one that explains why you're still watching this video right now. We are exactly halfway through, and Mechanism 5 is the one I promised you. The one psychologists say almost nobody ever fully outgrows. Social mirroring. Humans unconsciously copy the emotions, opinions, and behavior of the people around them. Not because they're weak-willed, because the brain has mirror neurons, cells that activate both when you do something and when you watch someone else do it. This is why yawning is contagious, why you feel tense in a tense room even if nobody says anything. why opinions spread through friend groups faster than facts do. It's also why you dress slightly differently around different friend groups, why your accent shifts depending on who you're talking to, why you laugh a little harder at a joke when everyone else is already laughing. Most people believe their opinions and preferences are entirely their own, generated from the inside. In reality, a significant amount of what you think you chose was quietly absorbed from whoever you spent the most time around. This is the mechanism that never fully switches off. Even the most independent-minded people are shaped by it constantly. They just notice it less than everyone else. Mechanism 6 is the strangest one on this list, and it explains something you've done today without even realizing it. Mechanism 6. Pattern seeking. The human brain is a pattern-finding machine so powerful it finds patterns even when none exist. This is called apophenia, and it runs constantly in the background of your thinking. You see a face in a cloud. You feel like a song means something when it plays at the right moment. You notice 3 bad things happen in a row and start expecting a 4th. None of these are real patterns. They're your brain doing its job slightly too well. This mechanism is also why conspiracy theories are so compelling. Random, unconnected events get stitched into a story that feels meaningful, because meaning is what the brain is built to find, whether or not it's actually there. And it's why superstitions form so easily. Wear the same socks during a winning streak once, and some part of your brain quietly files those socks under lucky. Logic be damned. Your brain would rather invent a wrong pattern than accept there is no pattern at all. Randomness is more uncomfortable to your mind than a false explanation. 6 mechanisms. And here's the uncomfortable part. All 6 of these mechanisms are running in you right now, in this exact moment, whether you notice them or not. So let's actually check. Think of one thing that happened to you this week. A decision, an argument, a moment that stuck with you. Now ask yourself 4 quick questions. 1. Was any part of this about how it made you look to others? That's status. 2. Did you defend a position harder than the evidence actually deserved? That's identity protection. 3. Did one bad moment overshadow several good ones around it? That's negativity bias. 4. Did you find yourself checking, refreshing, or hoping for something uncertain? That's the dopamine-seeking loop. Most people find at least 2 of these hiding in a single ordinary week, often in the same afternoon. This isn't a flaw unique to you. It's not a flaw at all, really. It's just what a human brain does, because it was never built for the world you're actually living in. It was built for tribes of 150 people, physical threats, and scarce resources. You're running incredibly old software on a completely new operating system. That mismatch is where almost all of human behavior actually comes from. Here's what makes this genuinely useful, not just interesting. Once you know these 6 mechanisms, status, identity protection, negativity bias, dopamine seeking, social mirroring, and pattern seeking, you stop taking your own reactions so personally, and you stop taking other people's so personally too. That argument wasn't really about the dishes. That purchase wasn't really about the shoes. That grudge wasn't really about what they said. It was ancient software, doing exactly what it was built to do, in a world it was never designed for. You can't delete the software, but you can learn to recognize it running, and that recognition is the closest thing to control you're going to get. If this helped, subscribe. We break down the psychology of human behavior every single week. No fluff. Stick figures. Small words. See you in the next one.